What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Got another bowl game preview prediction for you on the way today. It's the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl from Frisco, Texas. And this one definitely could be a little bit of an interesting game. I know on paper, and we'll look at it later, may seem like a mismatch, but I think this one has a chance to be a really fun one from Frisco. It's the UTSA Roadrunners out of the American and the Marshall Thundering Herd. Hey, two former teams that were in Conference USA now, both of them in different conferences, meeting once again in the Frisco Bowl. We'll dive on into everything Roadrunners and Thundering Herd here in a minute, but before we do that, thank you guys so much for the support the channel has seen as of late. It's been crazy to me, especially during the regular season. Continue. Show your support for the channel this postseason by watching the video, hitting the subscribe button, like, commenting, sharing, or anything else you can think of to interact with the channel, because everything you do to interact with the channel helps to support it, and it means a lot to me. And I'll say this again, like I've said during every other bowl game preview prediction so far, the way I guess the way that I've been introducing these videos, sometimes it can be a little tricky to keep track of which guys are opting out, who's entered the transfer portal, and things like that. So Roadrunner fans, Thundering Herd fans, if I've missed anything, if there's a player that after I record this video announces, hey, he's not playing, leave it in the comment section down below. Be very grateful to hear what you guys have to say. And again, anything I may have missed, you can just leave it down there. But let's dive on into this game between the Roadrunners and the Herd. We'll start out with the designated road team, and that happens to be the UTSA Roadrunners. Again, a team that played in the American Athletic Conference this season, moving over from Conference USA, and this was a team that was this close to making their conference championship game. They ended up not making the conference championship game, but still had a really, really good season. And yet again this year, they were led by their very experienced quarterback in Frank Harris. 2,506 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions this year. Now, that stat line is not as good as Harris has put up in previous seasons. However, he is still a very, very good, experienced quarterback. He knows how to get the job done this year. Now, this is a team that has had interception troubles this year. Harris only has 8 of them, and then there are 4 other guys. The only other 4 guys that have thrown passes here, 2 of them being pass catching options in Oscar Cardenas, the tight end, and Cephas, the wide receiver. Both of them have picks, and then Marburger and McCown, the 2 backups, have picks as well. So turnover number may be a little bit inflated up to what this team normally sees. But speaking of Cardenas and Cephas, Harris has a lot of weapons to work with, Cephas being the best one. Joshua Cephas, 82 catches, 1,049 yards, 9 touchdowns. Ogle Kellogg, 521 yards, 7 touchdowns. McQueen, 518 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Cardenas, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns there as well. And then running the ball, hey, hasn't been as much of a strong suit as it has been for Roadrunner teams of years past, but Kavorian Barnes, Robert Henry, and a former Power 5 transfer in Rocco Griffin. And then Frank Harris there, obviously, as well. All of them have the ability to run the football, and all of them have at least 4 rushing touchdowns so far this season. Really good offense on third down. Yeah, the turnovers and offensive line could be cleaned up a little bit, but overall, this is a very, very good offense here for UTSA. Moving on over to the defensive side of the ball, this is where a very, very notable player is in the transfer portal. Let's take a look at the sack production for UTSA this year. They have generated 40 sacks so far this year, and they've really come from a whole bunch of players. At least 26 of them have. 14 of them have come from just one guy, and it's the guy that's in the transfer portal. It's your 6th leading tackler and edge rusher by the name of Trey Moore. 45 tackles, 14 sacks, 3 pass defended, 1 pick. He is an all-around phenomenal player, and just having his presence on the field is very, very scary for any offensive line or any offense, period, that lines up against Trey Moore. His absence is going to be big here in this game, as Ohio State and Texas are the 2 teams rumored to be fighting for him from the transfer portal. But everyone else on this defense comes back. It's been a pretty solid defense so far this season. It's a pretty solid rush defense, a pretty solid pass defense. It's a pretty solid defense on third down. And hey, they pick and choose their moments, but they have the ability to create turnovers there as well. Now, this is the defense that I think matches up really well with a Marshall Thundering Herd offense that is just yet to find some consistency this year. They haven't really been able to find their groove. And they really haven't been able to find really just the offensive explosiveness or consistency that they've needed to. A couple reasons for that is just the fact that, again, they really don't have any dynamic playmaker on the outside pass catching the ball, and Rasheen Ali is their best playmaker. He is a running back, 1,043 yards, 14 touchdowns. He has not decided whether to or not to play. There are some things circling that he may be preparing to go to the NFL draft or to one of the Senior Bowls. So who knows if he plays or not, but one name is for certain who will not be playing. That is Cam Fancher, 2,162 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Now, the backup, who I'll talk about here a little bit, or here in just a little bit, does not have a ton of experience. He is a freshman with some pretty high upside, but is yet to throw a touchdown pass this year, has 6 picks. His name there is Cole Pennington, 437 yards on 62% completion percentage otherwise for him. But this is an offense that has had turnovers plague them. The offensive line is not very good in pass protection, and it's not a very good offense on third down at all. Defensively, though, hey, this defense, while overall the numbers definitely could be a little bit concerning, this is the defense that stands up especially on third down. It's a really kind of confusing team to figure out overall because it's an offense that, look, just isn't that great on third down. However, it's a defense that is really, really good on third down, and they have a lot of very, very good moments here at being able to rush the quarterback. They've generated 33 sacks so far this year. They, don't generate a ton of turnovers, but they don't really need them when you're able to force teams into third and longs, be able to get them behind the 8-ball offensively on third down. And I actually misspoke a little bit there when I talked about UTSA, especially with their run game. What I meant to say with UTSA is they don't have that one dynamic player like a Sincere McCormick that can run the ball really well. But as I'd mentioned, hey, you got 4 guys, you got a huge stable of backs that are really, really good at being able to run the ball. That's going to be a huge point of emphasis here for this Marshall Thundering Herd team, especially just the entirety of the battle in the trenches. It leads me into my what to watch for, kind of like your keys to the game. Hey, these are things that I think you should keep an eye on while you're paying attention to this one. Unlike the Marshall Thundering Herd offense, and unlike, well, a lot of the offenses that we see here during bowl season, Frank Harris is going to have all of his weapons. He's going to have, at least as of recording this video, and it's pretty likely that moving into this game, he's going to have all of his running back talent. He's going to have Joshua Cephas and all of his wide receiver talent as well. Now, who knows? Joshua Cephas might be a guy that last minute decides that, hey, I'm going to go prepare myself for the NFL, and he ends up sitting. But as of right now, Harris has all of his weapons, and that's big because it means that this UTSA offense is going to be dynamic and explosive, and they're going to be able to create a lot of very, very good plays. But this defensive front, it's been really, really good all season, but a huge reason why has been because of Trey Moore. So they're going to need players to step up, especially in the pass rushing game and especially in the rush defense game as well. You need that guy that's going to have that dynamic threat of just being on the field, makes the other offense scared. That is exactly what Trey Moore brings, and you're going to have to find someone to really step up in that category. However, they have a lot of guys that are very capable of being able to do so. Jamori Robinson as another edge rusher, linebacker type combination. You have a ton of those players. He has 4 sacks this year, and then on the defensive line, Brandon Matterson also has 4 sacks this year as well. But you need to put the pressure on the Herd off of turnovers. This is a turnover-plagued team, and if you can go down the field and score, if you can force turnovers, that's going to be a really big thing here for UTSA. But for Marshall, it's even bigger, especially with those turnovers. For starters, offensively, defensively, you need to limit the mental mistakes, especially offensively, though. You got to be able to start finding consistency, and you got to be able to limit those turnovers. You can't give this UTSA offense, especially a team that might very well have all of their weapons available to them, extra possessions with the football. You're only going to get behind the 8-ball more and more. Now, offensively, can this team find consistency with Cam Fancher gone and with Pennington at quarterback? Again, this is a quarterback that does have a lot of playing experience so far this year and is a freshman with some very high upside, but he has not thrown a touchdown this year, and he has thrown 6 picks. It's a very confusing puzzle to figure out. We'll see how well Pennington plays in this game. There's really no one tried and true dynamic offensive threat in the wide receiver room, but if Rasheen Ali ends up playing in this game. That's definitely going to be a huge point of emphasis here for the offense. Going to be able to try to bust it through this UTSA defensive front. But defensively for the Thundering Herd, you have to put the pressure on Harris. He is a 7th-year quarterback. He is very experienced. He's been very fortunate to see a ton of football, and he's a really, really good decision maker for the most part. Force him into making some really tight window throws, and then let your defense go and force turnovers, because in the bigger moments here, UTSA, in the game against Tulane, in the game against Tennessee, in the game against Army, this is the UTSA team that has been plagued by the turnover bug. However, I think this one is going to be different. I think just with the uncertainty of this Marshall offense, I think UTSA, with all of their offensive weapons, at least as we sit here and talk right now, I think this one has the potential to be close if Cole Pennington plays up to his ability. However, with just the uncertainty of if Rasheen Ali plays or not, how well Pennington plays, I think that is a huge factor, and I think UTSA runs away with this one in the second half. 37-20 is the way I see it playing out. Let me know how you guys see it playing out in the comment section below. But as always, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.